Now, here's Dominic Carter on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Folks, I am still thinking about 21-year-old Darius Lee. He was not just a headline to me. The NYPD is offering a $10,000 reward to anyone who can help them track down the shooters who opened fire outside a Harlem Father's Day cookout, killing the college basketball star and wounding 8 others. Darius Lee was struck June 20th with a stray bullet in the Harlem River Park near the Harlem River Drive and East 138th Street at a barbecue organized by a local rapper when rival groups started shooting at each other, literally. So a hail of bullets hit 9 people, including Lee, who was fatally shot. He had been on summer break from college, from Houston Baptist University, where he played and was a star for the Huskies basketball team there. He was due to graduate from college months later in December. Coming up, that day never happened. The young man is no longer with us. NYPD putting up $10,000. Please, someone knows something, please say something. It's not cool to keep information from the police. That's just what the moron criminals have brainwashed you to believe. I don't care what television show tells you that it's cool. You know, some of the shows on HBO, oh, we don't cooperate with the police. Well, how do you think Mr. Lee's murder is going to get solved? We are still going to be giving away the pair of tickets to the Fairy Hawks baseball game on July 30th, and the WABC softball team will be playing the NYPD softball team. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. And coming up at the top of the hour, Frank Morano and the other side of midnight. Right now, back to the phones, Jennifer in Boston. Good morning, Jennifer.
Hi, Dominic. I'll try and be concise. I have 2 points. First, on Peter's phone call to you, I always think when I hear someone like that, it says a lot more about the person speaking than it does about the person they're speaking to. And I thought to myself as I heard him, I wonder if he would have thought Martin Luther King Jr. was a self-hating black man because of the way he conducted his life, what he expected of people, the peace at all costs, the code of conduct he expected people to follow if they were going to protest with him, and the dignified manner in which he conducted his life. And the fact that he expected the same of others. I guess that made him a self-hating black man. And look at all that one man accomplished because he stuck to his guns and he knew what was right and he had faith and he did the right thing. So God bless him and God bless you. Hey,
Jennifer, I'm going to let you make your second point, but I do want to say this, and I thought about whether or not I should say this or not. But so today we're all hot, or I should say yesterday, but it's continuing. And so some relatives brought up, and their names will stay nameless, brought up some kids from the city to my home, and young kids, right, that happen to be foster kids, and they're toddlers. And I'm looking at the kids, and I'm like, here we go again. My wife and I are going to have to help raise a new generation of kids after we've done it for like 2 or 3 different generations. And I thought about what Peter was saying to me on the radio, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? He's not even talking about the Harlem ex-con in a negative way, but he's lashing out at me. Why? Because he's been programmed that as a black man, I'm supposed to say that blacks make no errors. All people make errors. All people make mistakes. But Jennifer, I just found it interesting that Peter, he's lashing out at me. I'm stupid. I'm this, and I'm self-hating black. But you don't have anything to say about the ex-con that stormed over the counter. And you're mad because I won't defend that reckless behavior. But please continue, Jennifer.
And I do find, I'm only a Caucasian woman. I know, I suppose I have no right to say this, but I do find that people like Peter, when they speak with such, I don't know, he was very ugly in the way he spoke. And when I think of people like Ben Carson and the names he's been called, at Clarence Thomas, just anyone, not necessarily even a conservative, but someone that's not full in on the thug life, you're somehow letting down the community. That's what I hear. And to me, it's the most absurd thing. I look at the contributions of people like you, and I've said this to you before, why people are looking up to, rappers or whatever in the thug life, to these criminals instead of people like you and the other men I mentioned, just off the top of my head. I will never understand, but I appreciate you for the person you are. And last but not least, regarding the illegals, Stan ought to look up some numbers and some things. As far as why should New York have to pay, does he know that New York is paying for the college tuitions for illegal immigrants, and yet they voted the state assembly did not pay for the college tuition for family members of Gold Star families? They had to be shamed into it and go back and take another vote. But on the same vote, they voted no to Gold Star family members' college tuitions, but yes to illegals. And as of 6 years ago, we were spending well over $200 billion a year on illegal immigration. Now, add to that the tens of millions that have come in since then, including the over 2 million that have come in under Biden. And we're going to have 10 million under Biden by the time he's out. And who does he think is going to be paying for those? Stan doesn't think he's paying for any of those. I'm not paying for them. You're not. And we have veterans and many, many families that are just struggling in our own country, and yet we're inviting the rest of the world in. And like you said, Biden has an open door policy. There's got a flashing neon sign, all are welcome. And anyone that doesn't think it's for votes, you're out of your mind. So that's all I'll say about that. But thanks. And I look forward to hearing LQ. I love his calls, and Hudson too from last night. Those guys are great. So
thank you for the call, Jennifer. You mentioned LQ, so let's go from Boston to the Bronx. Good morning, LQ. LQ, you got a fan up in Boston.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I'm your fan too. The one of the callers said that the Adams missed that these immigrants have been snuck in by the Biden administration at this middle of night. I don't know why Adams had kind of missed that. That is not just coming in the other ways, and the Ukrainians is going to come in, and they're going to get they'll get the money somehow or another. Jennifer is right. All this money coming in, and more is coming in, and they'll get the money. And I believe they're going to try to make them be able to vote for the Democratic Party.
Well, it's surely going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, LQ. But I understand the point that this is for Democratic votes, but I mean, this is wrong on so many levels in terms of what's going on. It's just not fair to people that have played by the rules coming to the country. It's not fair to the rest of us. I can go on and on and on. The benefits, who's going to pay for all of this? Rich in Mount Vernon, good morning. You're on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Good morning, Dominic. Just want to say you're doing a great job. Keep bringing the facts and keep moving forward.
That's very kind of you to say, Rich. I thank you for the call, and you have a beautiful morning. Let's go from Mount Vernon to Kentucky. Let's say good morning to Mark. Good morning, Mark. What's on your mind?
Hey, buddy. How you been?
I'm doing well. I'm just short on time, so go ahead, Mark.
I know you, dog. Let me tell you something. Everybody's moaning and groaning, and this guy, the difference between black and white and everything else. Let's get along, man. That's it. I'm coming from Kentucky, and it's just laid back here.
Well,
and I've listened to you for a long time on the radio.
Well, thank you.
My wife and I like you.
Well, thank you, Mark. I hear you, but to the point that Jennifer up in Boston made, I'm just going to be frank. If you are a person of color, like myself, and you dare go against the narrative that the far left has put out, then you are a self-hating black. You can't stand black people. You hate yourself. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. But, you know, I'm a big boy, and I can take it. It just, Mark, I thank you for the call. It just saddens me that rather than dealing with the issue, you'd rather attack me. But if you think I'm going to stand up here and defend that ex-con in the Jose Alba case, then you might as well call up and call me a self-hating black every night, because that's not going to happen.